Here's the truth. Getting ripped abs isn't really for everybody. And in today's video, I want to break down the truth that I've acquired over the last 20 plus years, starting back when I was in my early 20s, overweight, out of shape, depressed in a lot of ways, and struggling to really figure out what does it take to drop the stubborn fat once and for all and stop starting over with my fitness goals every few weeks. This is no nonsense, guys. This is like the real deal. So let's just start with the first thing. Why is this not for everybody? Well, because at the end of the day, there are going to be periods in time that are not easy. I think a lot of you are looking for the 100% easy cheat code to getting ripped and being healthy and being fit well into your 40s, 50s, 60s, and hopefully all the way until the end of life. But there's going to be phases. I'm going to break down some of the key phases that honestly make the most difference in your fat loss journey. And a lot of people just aren't willing to push through that. A lot of people want it easy from the jump. Zero struggle, just smooth sailing, pedal to the metal, belly fat goes away. And honestly, that's just not how it works. So the first hard phase, this is the truth, the first hard phase that we got to get through for most guys that I've coached over the past 15 to 20 years after getting in shape myself, is the first 30 days. Because this is where your old habits really start to show their ugly side. You start to realize all the things that you were doing wrong, and you start to go, man, like I can no longer just say sure to whatever I'm craving. I can't just skip the gym. Even if you're only working out 2 or 3 days a week, which a lot of our guys do in our program, you still got to make those happen. You'd be shocked at how easy it can be to fall into the trap of skipping things that maybe before you weren't even really realizing you were skipping. For example, I have most of my guys go for a 15-minute walk every day. And you'd be surprised at how many guys the first 30 days shoot me a text and say, hey coach, like I'm thinking about skipping my walk. I just don't have time, or I'm super swamped, or I'm stressed out. And I'm like, this is the hard part. It's so simple, right? Just go for a 15-minute walk. But that first 30 days where we're having to discover and realize all the things we were doing wrong that we need to fix feels really difficult. Now, the good news is once you get past that first phase, for some guys it's 30 days, sometimes it's 3 weeks. We have a first phase that we put everybody through called 21 Strong that helps build the basics. Once you get through that, things get a lot easier, but getting ripped isn't for everyone because a lot of people aren't willing to be uncomfortable for short periods of time. On the other side of that, things get really easy. Really, really easy. Now, there's other phases, which we'll talk about here in a bit, that do require a little bit more effort. And once again, it's not for everybody. Now, the second thing, the truth, is we're gonna have to find a system for tracking our food. I know weighing out every morsel of food is probably not what you wanna do. And the good news is you don't have to do that. But to be crystal clear, I have gotten shredded many times over the past 15 plus years. I've tried every possible way. I've tried the old school bodybuilder diet where I was eating 4 to 6 meals a day, very small portions, calories were extremely low, cardio was extremely high, and I'll just be completely honest, that sucked. But it also taught me quite a lot. It taught me how to get through severe hunger, right? It taught me that I don't need to eat that frequently. It taught me that I prefer bigger, less frequent meals. It taught me a lot of what not to do. Now, I've also tracked macros. I tracked macros for a long period of time. And yes, it got a little tedious at times to weigh out every turkey, pepperoni, tortilla, grain of rice, potato, chicken breast, like everything was weighed out on a food scale. And I did that for years. What it ended up teaching me was how many calories are in specific foods, exactly what I can get away with. And it got me really comfortable with putting together meals that are very calorie friendly, but also pretty filling. Nowadays, I could get shredded just off of instinct. I know what the level of hunger should feel like when I'm getting really lean. I know what portions should look like. I know what certain foods contain what. So I could literally just get ripped eating based off of my insight and my gut instinct. Now, technology these days, which is pretty cool, I've built inside of our app a way for you to take a picture of your food and it tracks all the calories for you just based off the picture. Is it as accurate as weighing out every morsel of food? Probably not. It's not anywhere, I would say, close to as accurate as that, but it's not terribly inaccurate. So there's other things too, like you could just eat the same meals every day. You could eat at restaurants where the calories are listed out. And yes, there's going to be some inaccuracy there too. What am I getting at here though? You're going to have to pick a system, like a system for tracking your food. And you're going to have to be able to use that system long enough to get the results you want. But once again, here's the truth. Every system is going to require a little bit of work when it comes to tracking your food. And this is again why I say getting ripped isn't for everybody, because it will require a little bit of work. And that's not difficult to understand, but it's sometimes hard to put into practice for some people. I heard this from a fitness influencer, I guess you call them that these days. It's simple, not easy, but it is simple, right? And so we have to understand that. And this leads me to the next point. Now, remember I mentioned another phase that we have to go through in order to get ripped, which a lot of people don't want to go through. And here's what it is. It's the phase where you realize, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to lose more fat than I thought I was going to have to in order to get super lean. This usually comes around month 2 or 3 if you're in one of our programs. This is why we only work with guys for 6 months, which by the way, I put together a whole entire ripped body roadmap. And if you've made it this far in the video, I'd love to give it to you for free. All you have to do is comment the word ripped below this video and I'll send it over to you. It is specifically designed for the fathers in their 40s and 50s, guys who just have a lot of responsibilities, a lot on their plate. Like me, I run a business, I coach youth sports pretty much year round. I have a date night with my wife every week. I go to church on Sundays. I have a lot on my calendar. I'm not a 20-something who can spend 2 hours in the gym every day. I used to be that guy. That's actually where I started. So I've been through that phase and I've had to adjust along the way. So I put together this roadmap. It's completely free. Just comment the word ripped below this video. Or heck, if you're just ready to take the big next step, check out our program. The link is in the description below. And our first step is just to build an action plan for you. If the action plan building session goes well, we can schedule an actual sales call where we can talk about options to work together. But it's a no pressure type of environment. We're here to make sure you have the truth and to ultimately give you the accountability that you need when you need it. So those are some options for you. But that phase that we're talking about here, where guys go, man, I thought I had to lose 15 pounds, when in reality it was 35. They lose the 15, they're not as ripped as they want to be, and they go, man, I put in some effort, but I didn't get the return that I was expecting. And I understand the frustration. It's just like financial investments. You know, if you bought something, a property, an investment, a Bitcoin or something like that, and you expect it to make 50% returns and you only got 8%, you might feel frustrated initially. But when you look at the average returns that people get from investments, you go, 8 to 10, 15% maybe isn't terrible. It's not where I want to be yet. But if I keep going, I'm going to see some really nice returns. That is guaranteed. And that's kind of how it goes with fat loss. That's just something that you have to keep in mind. And a lot of people at that point in their journey turn around. They go, nope, I did it. I promised I'd give it 3 months. I didn't lose enough fat. I'm going to go back to whatever. There's a lot of reasons for this. A lot of it is subconsciously. They self-sabotage. And that's where we have to face some of our inner mental issues that we got to deal with. But just be aware that phase is coming and you might have to face it head on and just push through. That's the only thing I would encourage you to do, is just push through. Now, here's another truth. You're going to have to figure out, do I want to eat less or move more? This is just part of the game. Now, I like to find a healthy balance for a lot of the guys I work with. And there's so many tricks that we could create a 4-hour video on all the fat loss tricks that I know to make it easier for you. But at the end of the day, typically there is a decision to be made. One is, do I have time to be more active? Can I hit 10,000 plus steps a day most days to allow me to burn more calories so I don't have to slice calories from my day to day? Some guys have the time to do that. Some guys don't. There are many tricks to the trade to finding ways to get more steps, and I always try to go that route first. However, we work with a lot of really busy men who have a lot of responsibilities. And so I can't always count on the fact that they might hit 10,000 steps a day. Sometimes they're hitting 6,000, 8,000. So then we got to lean into the other way, which is eating a little less. Now, this isn't necessarily the fun way, but there's once again many tricks that we can deploy to make this easy and enjoyable. One of which is intermittent fasting. So guys skip breakfast. Sometimes they even skip lunch, or they just have straight up protein at lunchtime. They kind of get through the annoying, not fun meal, so that they have plenty of calories later in the day when they are hungry, when they do want something bigger, or they want to sit down with their family and have a normal meal together. They have plenty of calories to play with. But once again, the truth is a lot of guys just don't want to do this. They go, no. I just want to eat anything and not walk, not do any kind of exercise, and somehow lose fat. Yikes. That's never going to work. So we have to understand there's typically two paths we can go down. Now, in a lot of ways, we can combine some of these things, not have to go crazy low in calories, not have to go crazy high in activity, find a middle ground. But here's the truth. It will come with slow, steady fat loss, not rapid fat loss, unless, and this is another truth, you're willing to play a little bit of the chemical game, which let's get into that now. By the way, if you made it this far in the video, thanks so much. Not here to ask for subscribers, but I am here to let you know I do have a ripped body roadmap that is free. Comment the word ripped. I'll make sure you get the link, and it will help you take even more steps along this whole fat loss journey that you're probably on. So let's talk about the truth around peptides, hormones, and all that fun stuff. And let's wrap this video up with some more truth. Truth is peptides work. Like, yes, they help control your appetite. Now, we're not going to talk about Ozempic and tirzepatide or whatever. Those are, at this point, believe it or not, kind of old school. They're not great. They require you to take a lot of them. Your body will get used to them pretty easily, and you're not going to see what you're probably looking to see in terms of fat loss. You are going to see a noticeable difference in your appetite, and you will lose weight, but that's not really what we're after here. We're after complete body transformation. So now, if you want to go down the chemical route, let's just be clear. You have to have the basics handled. Don't even consider peptides, hormones, and all that stuff unless you're willing to work out, you're willing to eat a little bit more protein, and you're willing to drink more water and drink less alcohol, which, by the way, I should have thrown that in there. Guys, to get ripped, you're probably gonna have to cut way back on your alcohol intake. Not entirely, you're not gonna have to eliminate it completely, but I would say it's a good rule of thumb that you're gonna have to cut back drastically on drinking. That's just a side note. Now, peptides. If you're willing to partake in peptides, like my #1 peptide in the world right now, retatrutide, that is something that will help you get there faster, assuming you're doing all the basics right. It is somewhat of a magical drug because it helps with your appetite, it helps your body utilize nutrients way more efficiently, and it helps get rid of body fat a lot faster. It actually helps the body mobilize fat. It's pretty legit. Is it cheap? No. Is it worthwhile? Depends. Depends on you, depends on your comfort level and your adherence to the basics. Now, the other thing I'll throw in on top of that is getting your hormones fully optimized. If you're a guy in his 40s and 50s, especially in today's day and age, chances are relatively high that you might be dealing with some low testosterone. I'm not saying that it's a guarantee, and I'm not saying you need to hop on TRT. But the one thing I will suggest is getting your hormones checked out. We can help you do that inside of our program. We can give you access to the best blood work there is on the planet, and we can at least help you get the information you need to make an educated decision. Here's what I'll tell you. I have guys in our program that are taking everything, the peptides, the hormones, all that, and they're getting pretty amazing results. The guys who don't take all that, who still get amazing results, what's the difference? Well, I can't say there really is one. They're sticking with the basics. They're doing what we just laid out. They're willing to get uncomfortable. They're willing to learn, be coached, be accountable, stick with the plan, even when it feels like things are slow. The guys who take the peptides, the hormones, and all that, do they get there faster? I would say sometimes slightly. What it ends up being is they can manage their hunger a little bit better. They probably feel a little more energized because their hormones are where they need to be. But do they get there 10 times faster? No chance. Maybe 5 to 10% faster in some cases. That's just the truth. But the guys who don't need all that stuff, who just follow the plan, they get incredible results too. It just comes down to the person, the individual who needs specific protocols. That's the truth. Like, I'm not saying everybody needs the same thing. Cookie cutter diets, cookie cutter supplement plans, cookie cutter hormones, peptides, that's so old school. I would run as fast as possible if someone's selling a cookie cutter approach to any of this stuff. That's just the truth. So stop looking for easy. Look for simple, look for sustainable, but be willing to get out of your comfort zone. Guys in our 40s and 50s, here's the truth I'll leave you with. You're overqualified to be healthy and fit, man. You do so many things in your life that are harder than fitness. Being married, being a father, being a business owner, being a boss, being someone who runs the show, being someone who just works really hard consistently for decades, dude, that's way harder than getting abs. I promise you. Once you get into the thick of things and you realize how simple it actually is, you'll realize something profound. What you're really missing is not the diet, not the training program, not the cardio, not the supplements. Those things yes, they can be optimized and they can be built specifically for you. What you're really missing is a team, someone in your corner. As guys, man, we do things by ourselves. We're lone wolves so many times. You're missing accountability. You're missing skin in the game. I only say this because I've worked with thousands of guys and they all tell me the same thing. They're all like, hey coach, what I was really missing was I actually care now. I actually invested in myself. I actually feel worthy of doing this now because I paid for it. I have someone in my corner. I have a coach to talk me off the ledge. That's what I was missing all these years. It's as simple as that, guys. So hey, start by getting the Ripped Body Roadmap. Comment ripped. I'll send it to you for free. And if you're curious about what we do, check out the links in the description. We can chat, see if it's a good fit. Otherwise, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Life moves fast. Make it count.